Becoming a football data scientist is possibly the most underrated but realistic way of getting a job in football. Most people think you need to spend thousands of pounds and have a computer science degree to become a football data scientist. That's complete rubbish. What if I told you that right now, sitting in your bedroom with nothing but a laptop and an internet connection, you could start building the exact same skills that got me my full-time job as a sports data scientist. And if you're new around here, my name's Nash and I work as a sports data scientist with a focus on football. The whole point of being a football data scientist is to be able to tap into knowledge that can't be gained by the eye test alone, but can be gained through data. So obviously you can't be a football data scientist without the data, and if you've ever tried getting data from official providers, you'll be familiar with these pages, which is code for you cannot afford this data. But what if I told you that some of the most valuable football data is just sitting out there completely free, just waiting for you to use it? Here are my favorite free data sources and why you should or shouldn't use them. The absolute king of free football data is Kaggle.com. And here's the beautiful thing. You can literally just create a free account and suddenly you've got access to datasets that would have cost companies thousands of pounds to acquire. Want World Cup penalty shootout data showing every kick taken since 1982? Is there. Looking for comprehensive player valuation data that links it to their market value? Well, that's also there just waiting for you to use it. But here is what makes Kaggle the absolute king for beginners. You're not just getting free data, you're getting a masterclass in how to use it. That's because other data scientists have already built incredible projects using these exact datasets, and they've made all their code open source. So you're essentially getting free tutorials alongside the free data. The only catch, well, the data isn't live as it's not updated as matches go on. Some of the data on there is actually months or even years old. But for learning the fundamentals and building your first projects, well, it's absolutely perfect. I will be linking to some of the most interesting data sets to start with in the description. Okay, now here's where things get really interesting. You remember those contact us for pricing pages that I mentioned? Well, occasionally those professional data providers need to show off the sort of data they got. So they will release samples of their premium data completely free. StatsBomb is the perfect example. This is the company that provides data to major European clubs, and they've made some of their datasets publicly available on GitHub. We're talking the same tracking data that shows a player's every position every 10th of a second. The exact information that clubs use to scout 50 million, 100 million pound players. To be honest, this is as close as you'll get to professional grade data without working inside a club. It's also tracking data, which is some of the rarest data to acquire. The catch is that there's not a lot of it because companies can't give away their entire database because that's their business. But what is available is absolute gold for understanding how football analysis works. But what you might now be wondering is what you do once you have the data. That moves us on to the software or IDEs that you need. So once you find where you're going to get the data, you need three key skills. The ability to store and find exactly what you're looking for in massive data sets, the power to transform raw numbers into meaningful insights, and the skill to present those insights in a way that makes people go, wow, that's brilliant. Let's make a change because of your insights. So picture this, you've downloaded a data set with every Premier League match from the last decade. That's almost 3,800 matches, each with hundreds of data points. Now imagine trying to find all the matches where Manchester United scored in the final 10 minutes whilst playing away from home on a Tuesday. In a spreadsheet, you'll be scrolling and filtering for hours and you'll probably get it wrong. But with a language called SQL, with just a couple of lines of code, it will give you the answer in mere seconds. SQL is the language of every football database. The absolute best part is that there are a lot of database management softwares that let you use SQL inside of them for completely free. And an example of this is obviously MySQL, which is simply a free download away. And the king of programming languages in the football space is Python. It's the most flexible and probably the easiest to learn programming language. And it has a lot of libraries and packages that have extensive documentation and support. So Python has to be your go-to. How can you write your Python code for free? In general, you have two options. The first is running it locally. This is writing all your code locally, which basically means that your code runs on your laptop and is dependent on the strength of your CPU and GPU. So if you're dealing with small data sets, this isn't the biggest deal. And the software, or technically IDE, that I'd recommend is called VS Code. I've been using it for years and it's probably one of the most popular around. And again, it's 100% free and Yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend. But here's the thing, once you start working with larger data sets or building complicated models, or if your laptop just isn't that great, you want to switch to a cloud-based IDE. So with cloud-based, what we mean is that you still write your code on your laptop, probably in a browser, but when you're running your code, it's not dependent on your CPU or GPU. It's actually the provider of that cloud platform who gives you the compute power to run the code. And the easiest way to start with this, in my opinion, is Google Colab. You literally just go to Google Colab, new notebook, and when you hit run, it's Google's supercomputers that do all of the complicated processing, and you can just sit back and relax. Here is the harsh truth. You could make the most groundbreaking analytical breakthrough, but if you provide it as a spreadsheet just full of numbers, nobody's gonna care and nobody's gonna take any action. It's the difference between reading a movie script and actually sitting down in a theater and watching a full-blown movie. Visuals are the key. And while you can do a lot of lovely visualization stuff in Python, a dedicated software will do a much better job. In this regard, I recommend Tableau. Now here's the caveat. Tableau technically is paid if you want to keep your data private. However, assuming you're using publicly available data like we discussed and are actually trying to build a portfolio, that should mean that data privacy shouldn't be too big an issue. So you can use the freed version of Tableau called Tableau Public. And actually Tableau Public has an element of discoverability, so it's great for potentially getting more eyeballs on your work, which is what you want. Okay, so now you know where to get your data, the different platforms and softwares that you can manipulate your data on, but what are you even meant to do with your data, and how do you even data science? There's plenty of free resources to get your knowledge up, including blogs, YouTube tutorials that you can just look up. Research papers are also a super underrated way of getting your football data science knowledge up, but my goal is to make this channel the best resource for anybody looking to get into football data science, or sports data science in general. And a place where you can get my insights in written format will be my free newsletter, where I will be including some of the stuff I cover in videos, but also completely unique stuff about my journey as a football data scientist. So you can sign up for that down below in the description. And actually, I already have a full tutorial on how to get started in Python for football data science, obviously free, linked on screen now, and there'll be plenty more coming, as I'll be showing you the same for Tableau, SQL, and so much more. So hit subscribe if that sounds interesting. But yeah, check out that tutorial.